This thing is heavy. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Shawn Gonzalez and this is Gonzalez Films. It's already 2022 and I've been wanting to make this video for a long time for you guys. I've been wanting to get it out there so you can see. Today we're reviewing the Bausch and Lomb Cinemascope Anamorphic projector lens. So let's get right into it. Before I start, I just want to say that I'm not getting paid to mention any of these items or any brand names or anything like that. This is just my own personal opinion and review. So these are the infamous Bausch and Lomb Cinemascope Anamorphic projector lenses. This lens was made for 35mm film projectors that you would see in a typical movie theater about 50 plus years ago. I know in the 2000s, back when everyone first started going digital, they were ditching all their big film reel projectors, and that's why these lenses are popping up all over eBay. Still to this day, they're easy to find online. Everyone was getting rid of them. Some theaters were late to convert to digital, but by now they're all long gone. You may find a hipster movie theater here and there, but I really doubt that they're using these anamorphic projector lenses. The full name it goes by is Cinemascope Projector Attachment 1 by Bausch and Lomb Optical Company, Rochester, New York, USA. I want to say that I've seen a few different styles and variants to this lens. I know Bausch and Lomb has the red and silver like the one in my hand, the black and silver like the one right here, and I'm pretty sure I've seen other lenses out there with a different color ring on it, possibly blue, yellow, maybe even gold. A lot of other lens companies use a similar design to this one, such as Kawa or Sankor, but Bausch and Lomb is the one that stands out the most whenever you talk about older film projector lenses. It's the most iconic one of them all. This specific one was made for 35mm film projectors, but Bausch and Lomb had dedicated anamorphic lenses back in 1953 to 1954. The Baltar 40mm, the 75mm unicorn lenses, and those things are super rare, and you could probably find them in film history museums. I want to go over some of the specs of this lens so this way you guys have a better idea of what you're looking at. This projector lens was made back in 1953 to 1955 by Bausch and Lomb, New York, USA, for 35mm projectors in movie theaters. It's a pretty hefty piece of glass. It weighs in at about 3 pounds 9.1 ounces or 1.62 kilograms. It's approximately 6 3/4 inches long at its minimum focus distance of 50 feet, and is surprisingly the same 6 3/4 inches long at its maximum focus distance of 500 feet as well. The markings are oddly placed with the way it adjusts on the inside. The front glass element is 81mm and the rear is 63.5mm. It has an 84mm thread in the front with a barrel size of 109mm. Then a rear thread size of 67mm with a 70.2mm barrel. The coatings on the lenses are a very light pink magenta color from what I'm seeing on the front and the rear of the glass. These are double focus, but it's kind of tricky, so I'll get back to that in a minute. It's got a squeeze factor of 2x or 2 times, really big glass elements on both sides. I'm not sure how many optical elements are on the inside, but it lets in a ton of light, and this thing is really sharp. So how is this lens practical to shoot your own movies? It's not really, but it's doable. I'm no professional with this lens, but I just want to show you guys how I use it and how you could possibly use the same techniques. So the purpose of this video is I wanted to do my own personal review of this lens and show you guys how it works. At the same time, I wanted to show someone who's interested in that anamorphic look and how they can do it on a budget. The prices on these can be really cheap or really expensive. Stay away from the $500 ones that you see on eBay. The sellers think they have gold just because these things are vintage and really old. Just avoid those at all costs, no pun intended. Realistically, I paid $20 for the red one and $30 for the black one, and they both came with boxes. These are the cheapest anamorphic lenses that you're gonna find anywhere, and it's crazy because this is real anamorphic glass. Most that I've seen online, the glass is unbelievably clean, both the front and the back. For some reason, these lenses, the glass is like pretty durable. And if you see one for a good deal, you should definitely grab it to have in your camera arsenal. The average filmmaker should have these tools in their camera bag, a lens collar support, and some diopters. If you don't worry, because these are cheap on eBay or Amazon. I'm going to show you my setup and then I'm going to show you how I put it together. Make sure you have a strong tripod, your camera on rails. I'm using my GH5 with a 50mm Nikon lens, your lens support and lens collar, holding the anamorphic lens, possibly a second support to be safe because this thing is a beast. And make sure you have 1 to 3 diopters for different focal points. My diopters don't fit 100% because of the weird thread size, but some paper tape which costs $1 makes it fit there nice and snug and it's not going anywhere. When I said double focus earlier, what I meant was the anamorphic at its minimum or maximum focus distance to the naked eye looks exactly the same. The main focus is with the taking lens. Even though the minimum focus distance on the anamorphic lens says 50 feet, with focusing on the taking lens, you can get around 20 feet. And if you stop down the taking lens, you can get even sharper results. If I didn't mention this before, the front ring on the anamorphic is a dummy ring. The focus does not go through this, it goes through the main barrel. What this does is locks the main barrel focus in place so it doesn't move. I will admit it does sound confusing for the non-anamorphic shooter, but it's as basic as you can get with this lens. If you want to get a little more detailed and dive deeper into using this lens, you can disassemble it, tweak the set screws and set the lens to infinity, but be warned, that's at your own risk, but it can be done. The other options are you can mod the lens by cutting it in half. It does sound crazy, but I've seen it done and it does work. You cut the lens in half, you bring the elements closer together and you rehouse them in a solid block. But that requires more gear and adding a variable diopter, which is kind of pricey, and it defeats the purpose of starting out on a budget with this lens. I've seen some pretty cool mods online that yield in some pretty decent results, so if you find one of these for a good price, grab it and just see what works for you. I want to show you guys some test footage with this lens, the flares, the sharpness, so you have an idea of the type of image that this lens produces. So you can see it looks really good for some of the cheapest anamorphic glass on the market. Keep in mind when using diopters with this lens, you will see some extra light artifacts in the flares, but that's only because there's light pointing directly at the glass. The widest you can go with this lens is about 50 millimeters. Any wider than that, you could start to see vignetting and shadows in the corners because this is a very long scope. If you have a bad back, I wouldn't recommend shooting with this handheld. That's why I suggested a tripod. A few shots handheld here and there, but mostly on a tripod because this thing's really heavy. You're definitely gonna feel it the next day. This basically sums up my review for this lens. I tried to cover as much information as I possibly could without making it too long. I hope you found it informational and helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate the support. If you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I'll see you guys next time.